Please subscribe to the channel and stay with me. This story unfolds slowly, but every detail matters. My wife said, "No guys allowed." At first, I thought she meant it casually, that it was a joke, a playful boundary as we prepared for her friend's gathering at our apartment in Amsterdam. The city was draped in early winter fog, canals dark and glassy, the street lamps reflected like fire in the rippling water. Outside, the chill bit through my coat, and the scent of baked bread from nearby bakeries mixed with the cold air. Inside, the apartment smelled of candles and mulled wine. I had been making last-minute preparations for what she called a ladies' night. Her friends, some colleagues, a few neighbors. I knew the routine. Laughter, chatter, gossip about work, clothes, men. I had never minded. I had learned to fade into the background, to be the silent observer of her world. "You're sure you don't want to stay?" I asked lightly. "No," she replied, with that sharp, satisfied smile she always used when she wanted to assert control. "No guys allowed. Tonight's for us girls." I nodded. That was her rule. I trusted it, or at least I thought I did. By 9 o'clock, the apartment was filled with chatter and the clink of glasses. I was in the living room, pretending to read a book, but listening. The conversations were light, superficial, but under the laughter, I sensed tension, an undercurrent of judgment, competition, secrets whispered like confessions in the dark. At first, I didn't notice. It was only when she excused herself to the kitchen, ostensibly to refill wine, that I saw the first mark. On her shoulder, barely covered by the strap of her blouse, a faint bruise, purple-blue, half-healed, as if someone had grabbed her roughly. My chest tightened, but I didn't move. I thought perhaps she had fallen, but instinct told me it was more deliberate. Then, when she leaned over the counter, her blouse sliding slightly, I saw another mark on her forearm, a small, circular imprint, angry and recent. My mind began to race. I followed her silently, careful not to alert her. She spoke to her friends, laughing, but there was a hesitation in her gestures, a stiffness I had never noticed before. That night, after her friends left, she tried to act normal. She poured me wine, smiled, leaned into me as if nothing had happened. I nodded, drank, stayed calm. But inside, a plan began to form. Over the next few days, I observed, carefully. I noticed the messages she tried to hide, the deleted calls, the slight defensive tone whenever I asked about her day. It became clear. Someone had crossed a line, and she had been hiding it from me. Not out of shame, I realized, but out of fear. I contacted someone I trusted, quietly, a former colleague who now ran security services in The Hague. I told him everything I had seen, the marks, her evasions, the patterns in her behavior. Within a week, discreet surveillance confirmed what I had suspected. It was her boss, a man I had met briefly at company events. Charismatic, powerful, used to getting his way. He had taken advantage of her trust, manipulated her position, and now she was trapped in a web of fear and intimidation. I didn't act rashly. I didn't confront. I observed. Weeks passed. Winter deepened. Snow fell on the canals, transforming the city into a quiet, reflective world. I tracked every meeting, every unexplained absence. I collected evidence, photos, messages, recordings. All legally admissible, all precise. Then came the night of reckoning. It was early February. She returned from work, exhausted, carrying her coat like armor. I had prepared everything. "I can't keep this up," she whispered. "You don't have to," I said, "but you need to trust me." I handed her a folder. Inside were all the proofs I had collected. Every incident, every text, every photo. I had contacted the company's board, the Human Resources Department, and law enforcement, arranging a coordinated intervention. She looked at me, tears brimming, for the first time not smiling, not smirking. Her fear was real, her relief palpable, and her trust, finally, shifted to me. The next morning, the boss was suspended pending investigation. The board called an emergency meeting. Her colleagues rallied, shocked at the revelations, but supportive once the truth became clear. My wife, hesitant at first, gave her statement with courage I had never seen before. In the weeks that followed, she began therapy, slowly reclaiming autonomy, learning to assert herself in ways she hadn't before. I stayed by her side, patient, quiet, letting her rebuild at her own pace. Through it all, I remained calm. My revenge was not against her, but against the system that allowed someone to abuse trust and power. And I realized something deeper. True strength does not come from anger, nor from confrontation. It comes from preparation, observation, and acting when the moment is precise. By spring, the city bloomed. Tulips along the canals, the sound of children laughing in the parks, and sunlight glinting off icy rooftops. Life had returned to the city, and in our apartment, life returned to us. She looked at me one evening, sitting together on the balcony overlooking the water. "You saw everything?" she said quietly. "I did," I replied, "and I acted. Because sometimes, silence is not submission, it's preparation." She nodded, understanding fully for the first time. The marks she had tried to hide no longer defined her, nor her fear, nor the power others had held over her. That night, the city seemed to exhale, and I realized revenge is not always a loud, vengeful act. Sometimes it is quiet, calculated, and protective. Sometimes it is ensuring that those who would harm those you love are exposed, powerless, and facing the consequences they deserve. We stayed on the balcony, watching the water ripple beneath the lights, knowing that the night had ended not with betrayal, but with balance restored. The past had been acknowledged, the threats neutralized, and a new chapter began, one where trust was fragile, but no longer naive, and where vigilance was the strongest form of love. From that moment onward, I understood the most powerful revenge is not destruction. It is reclaiming control, restoring justice, and protecting those who matter. And in that quiet, reflective city by the canals, I had done exactly that.